Hey, Uni.
Hi there.
Hi, great to have you, Uni. It's been a pleasure. I've been watching the journey of Palo Alto Networks, and the fact that you guys were the first to approach more of a platform slash consolidation strategy, which I don't know if it was that obvious in hindsight, but it feels more obvious in SaaS now, right? I want to actually kickstart the discussion with that, Uni. What made you guys think about that first, right? And then how did that change the go-to-market, right? Like obviously, once the announcement has been made or before the announcement has been made, there's a lot more prep that goes into making sure that that strategy works. I want to start the discussion with that question. I'm diving straight into the question Q&A mode. I know your background and stuff, and I'm sure folks know what Palo Alto Networks do. So let's get into that.
Yeah. Kishore, first of all, thank you and really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and your audience. So, to answer your question, platform is something that we started off many, many years back. And it's something that we believe has been a philosophy of right from our early days. Because when we go back to the customer, it's always about cybersecurity or security cannot be done with a point product.
Hmm.
Right? I mean, it's no point in saying, "Hey, I've got the best intrusion prevention," or "I've got the best endpoint," but rest of the areas, I don't know how secure it is, or I don't know how it works together to kind of address my security concerns. So, right from day one, our approach always has been that customers need a platform. And that is important because you needed to make sure that you have cybersecurity working for you in a more comprehensive manner instead of point products. Now, the other thing that we also did was we are respectful of the fact that sometimes, custom and cybersecurity has been legacy for a lot of people. They have invested years back. It can't be that, hey, go ahead and do a rip and replacement, but it's also about how do you eventually wean in a platform, right?
Right.
Hey, your particular product is coming to end of life or it's coming to end of service. Many a times you have companies that are acquired by other companies. You don't know what their future is going to be. Here is an opportunity for us to absorb you in and really switch on the larger part of the solution to have a platform in play. So that is the approach that we've been using now for quite some time. And over the last couple of years, we've obviously, put the ante or put the foot on the pedal to really get customers to get there because it's getting more and more the need of the day. Clearly, organizations are seeing if you, I mean, just taking a step back, on an average, an organization has about 30 to 40 different security vendors.
Wow.
Now, if you're a large technology company, maybe you have some technology people, but if you're not a tech company, if you're a financial institution, you're a manufacturing company, you're not going to be hiring, cybersecurity experts to come and sit and manage everything,
Right.
right? You need something which is automated, which is integrated, and hence that's where the platform play has been coming in, and organizations have started realizing that and moving towards it. In fact, I made some notes the other day where it shows. If I can just pull that out, I think if I remember the statistics right, again, one of the leading analyst firms had said um, in 2020 there were about 29 or 30% of organizations which were thinking about platform. Fast forward to where we are today, over 70 to 75% of organizations are thinking about the need for the platform. So clearly, our message, our strategy is amplifying well with the audience. They're seeing the need and the value, and that is how our approach has been. Now, how do you tie this back into marketing?
Right.
Okay, see, again, the criticality over here is to get customers to understand the value because take a step back.
Hmm.
What's your problem statement? Right? Your problem statement is when you have a disparate set of cybersecurity tools, they don't talk to each other, you have limited visibility, there's limited correlation, it is not automated, you have a lot of manual intervention in trying to get things to get stitched together. And you as a CISO or a security leader, you're not a system integrator. You're
Right.
looking at the larger IT strategy. So our approach has been that, hey, what has been the problem statement when you have point products? Okay, how do you wean away and how do you eventually get into a platform and what is the value proposition? Then the other thing that we did was, again, we worked with other analyst firms to come out with data to show how, whether it is over 200% ROI that you would get over 3 years when you invest into a platform. Again, you have actual value that organizations are able to see,
Right.
or over 50 to 55% increase faster in terms of your process to remediate potential attacks, or 50 to 60% increase in productivity of your people. Again, we have tangible data to show how organizations can benefit. So we brought all of these things together, and we take it across to our customers and the market to say, one, why there is a need, what are the potential problems that you would need, here's a value proposition, here is how you can benefit, and this is where Palo Alto Networks comes in to be able to help you manage that.
Uni- This makes a lot of sense. One question I had, and this is very very well articulated. How does the GTM teams work? For example, for a salesperson, selling one product itself is like a motion in itself. And when you have 30 plus products, right? How is the team structured? Is it like, hey, let's land in one product and try to sell expanded motion, or do you guys land at the platform strategy? Like, how does it typically vary?
We flip it over to what does the customer need. It starts
Mm.
with that, right? I mean, no point in going and pushing 10 products when the customer's problem or the pain point is currently going to be addressed with A and B.
Mm.
So we really start there in terms of understanding what the customer needs. Okay, taking a very consultative and advisory approach, because we want to be a cybersecurity partner of choice to the customer. We are here in the long run for them. We are not a vendor who wants to come and do one sell and run away from
Right.
that.
Right.
Right. So it starts with that. Now it would vary. There are organizations who would come and say, "Hey, you know what? We've just got breached, and we've realized that this doesn't help, and
Right.
we need you to come in and help us implement a platform." Right? We need a platformization strategy. We've seen that with a lot of organizations. You will, if you do a Google search, you will see some of the recent wins that we've had with some large organizations where they have gone in with a large end-to-end platform
Right.
strategy. Now, there could be other organizations who would come and say, hey, this does make sense, and we are investing for the future. So let's start with X, right? We know that working with you, tomorrow we can expand into Y and into Z,
Right.
and which is again one thing that organizations see value in, because we are again safeguarding their future. So tomorrow, when a particular product or a different vendor is up for renewal or is end of life, it's very easy for that organization to start thinking, hey, you know what, why do I need to renew with them, and can I move in with Palo Alto Networks with a larger solution approach that they would have.
Yeah.
So it really is dependent on what the customer is, but the good part is we are seeing more and more of our customers, and very clearly statistics, as I said, from the analyst show you that we have more and more organizations getting interested on working with us on their platformization approach on cybersecurity.
Makes sense. Awesome, Mani. I know also, I saw the messaging around precision AI that you guys are very going deep into. If you can take a step back and walk us through the journey to get there, Uni, like when a large org like Palo Alto does a messaging change or some specific positioning, right? There's a lot of enablement, consultation with the leadership team to see if this really works. If you can walk us through the journey of how you guys landed on that particular keyword and what the journey looked like, I would love to hear it.
So Kishore, it's not a messaging change. See, one thing, taking a step back again, for us from a cybersecurity standpoint, innovation has been at the core at what we do.
Hmm.
And this is very important because we do not want to be in an archaic or a dinosauric era of giving technology, because adversaries are constantly a couple of steps ahead. So for us, what we've done with precision AI is it's basically the next generation of AI, which is really used to really build on your cybersecurity posture.
Hmm.
So let me explain that to you.
Hmm.
I made some notes to kind of, making sure that I know this is a podcast, so I want to be very succinct.
Yeah.
If you really look at it, what precision AI does today is it really builds on your traditional AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning approaches, but then customizes it for security. So what it basically does, it brings high resolution of cyber defenders by centralizing them and analyzing data with a security specific model to
Hmm.
help defenders automate, prevent, and respond.
Hmm.
Why are we doing this? Because security has now transitioned into a data problem,
Hmm.
right? Because You need there is so much of data that's out there. And what is important for organization is you need data which is with precision. You're able to look at stopping rapid evolving threats in
Hmm.
real time.
Hmm.
Okay. What precision AI can do for organizations, help them with automate with confidence and achieve a security outcome in a lot faster pace. And there are three key pillars that get associated with it. It's the data, because you need high volume of data. And Palo Alto Networks today leverages the world's industry's largest footprint of tools and capabilities deployed across various sectors: endpoint, cloud, and the network. Then the other thing that we did is, these models that need to be built have to be as close as 100% accurate, to look at understanding what are true attacks, sorry, and avoiding alerting with false positives.
Hmm.
Usually what happens is this is where a SOC administrator or a network security administrator is struggling, because there are a lot of false attacks, that alerts that come into the system. And if you're going to be reacting to every single one of them, it's humanly not possible. So you need to be doing it in such a way that all the false alerts are blocked out, and you get very precise on what are the specific area that you need to act on. So in our case, while machine learning and deep learning are going to be core, precision AI also takes inputs from generative AI generated attacks to further train our defenses. So
Hmm.
this is how, the various, without getting too technically involved,
Right.
this is how various models come in. And then the last part is it's really about leveraging AI automation to accelerate speed and accuracy dramatically by reducing MTTR and mean time to detect response. So again, it's a high fidelity automation that we bring in. So broadly, this is how we are able to look at precision AI with regards to an organization's need. And what we've done is today how it's got embedded into all our products, and we're getting this out for our customers through the platform.
That's good. How did you guys land on this particular keyword? And like, I'm sure there was a lot of alignment across the org, right? Like, who leads that? Is it the product marketing team who leads it along with you and the CEO? Yeah.
It's the ladder leadership team, right? Obviously we brainstormed and we understand. And again, it really goes back to you, today, if you look at security needs to be as accurate as possible and as precise. That's what it is. You need to know where the attacks are happening. You need to know what kind of attacks are happening. You
Right.
need to know when it could be potentially, building up. And what is it that happens? It's you got so much of data that's out there. How do you look at all of these things and real time get
Right.
precise?
Right. Right.
Then you veer in the artificial intelligence or the AI component that's being built in, and that's how the whole precision AI comes into play.
That's a great argument, because to your point, like, it's, I think, anchoring the company around this particular positioning just makes everything clear, and also for external folks to view guys is exactly what you said. Palo Alto Networks is so precise in what they do, especially with making sure that the data is secure and all the different systems are secure. So the fact that you've rallied around that particular keyword just makes things a lot more clear and precise, right? So it's fantastic. And also, I saw that you all did a campaign with Keanu Reeves, which was a very interesting one. I didn't expect that, and it was very, very well done. So, how did that idea came through? Was it a team member who thought this could be a good campaign? Let's think about it. How did that whole thing came through, and what was your reaction when somebody approached you with a campaign like this? Because it's not normal, right? So,
It's not. So again, this goes back to who we are as an organization, of,
right.
of really, pushing the bar and looking at creativity and disruption on an ongoing basis. And
Mm.
we strongly, take pride in the DNA of being disruptive across the board as an organization. But to answer your question specifically, one was, we have been obviously, out there in the market talking about platformization, and
Right.
we think this is very important for us to really up level the ante.
Mm.
We get that, our the messaging and articulate the value proposition out there into the market. And the second thing is, when you look at something which is very topical as AI, how do we get the message out into the market that we are in the forefront
Right.
of AI is. It's not that, hey, we woke up one fine day and decided AI is the buzzword that we want to jump
Right.
in. Okay, so that is what we wanted to do. And then we said, hey, as an organization, we've really not done massive, above the line advertising and marketing campaigns. And we said, hey, this is an opportunity for us to really up level that.
Mm.
So that is where it started off. And then we said, okay, now we want to do this. And this is a concerted effort with a lot of people, right?
Right.
And these kind of decisions don't happen with like, okay, one person decides and another person executes. It's a
Right.
larger team. Then we said, okay, now this has happened. Now, how do we get this into the market? And
Right.
this is where the creative element came in. And we said, one way of doing it is the typical, like what all technology companies do: go out there in the market with all the technical jargon, and see who screams the loudest and potentially confuses the customers. And we said, no, we should take a different creative approach to the whole thing. Let's identify a good talent,
Mm.
who we want to be associated with, and see how we can work with that person to create a story, a
Right.
story,
Right.
right? And again, working as marketing, this is where you humanize your brand.
Right.
Okay, this is where you get creative. And working with Keanu Reeves was great because one is the story theme that we are building on. One, we said, okay, we want to make it like a very good, high quality production,
Right.
not just a tactical ad, but more story. Okay, with like a trailer and the next story coming in, and a trailer and a story coming in, like a series. And then the second thing we said is, how do we make sure that we are able to articulate what is the current setup for people and how they need to be prepared with potential new threats
Right.
and attacks, and how do you weave that in a humanized manner. So that's how the whole story came into play. And you will see in the ad campaign, of course, for sure, how Keanu personifies a lot of these things that we are looking at, how the industry needs to be prepared and what they need to do to look at managing their cybersecurity.
That makes, the choice of Keanu also is a good one, only because he has obviously been in really sci-fi movies like Matrix and also John Wick, where he's so precise with how he, does the movie. So
Yeah.
it was a good choice of actor as well, which ties back to your overall theme about precision AI, right?
And and quite a few things. Again, we are obviously very excited to work with him. And it, again, if you we look at Keanu, right from his versatility of who
Mm.
he is as an actor, how he's evolved over the last many years, how he is, the cult following that he's built with him. And
Right.
obviously from a cybersecurity standpoint, that's again very similar parallel that we draw. And then if we look at, again, the positive cultural public image that he has,
100%, yeah.
all of these things tie in with somebody that we wanted to be associated with, because for us it's the same thing. We are safeguarding our customers, and obviously our image and our positivity is very important and very critical. They need to trust us, they need to feel comfortable with us. So there's a lot of synergy that we saw in
Yeah.
this association.
Yeah. Wait, one question I had, maybe slightly related to that. What is your opinion on content marketing in general? How is it changing over the years with AI and stuff, right? And specifically, would love to hear your thoughts on video as well, because it seems like an important medium to communicate a lot of these things. So, would love to hear your opinion on that.
See, for us, see, as marketeers, and I think this is where marketeers are constantly need to challenge themselves,
Hmm.
to look at the first and the key important thing is, I don't even want to link it to whether it's a content or a white paper or a blog or a video. I'll turn it around to say, what are we trying to achieve? First
Hmm.
of all, what does the customer need? Okay, it starts with that. What are we trying to achieve with regards to the customer's need, and
Hmm.
then working backward, how do we address that? What's the kind of content that need to be created? What should be the medium of that content by which it is put across in front of the customers and the prospect? So we've seen in the past where organizations are like chugging along content by the
Right.
kilos,
Right.
right? Somebody has to do a tick mark on, hey, I put out so much of content. So it starts off by saying, hey, understanding what is there in terms of, as an industry, what are the challenges and the concerns that's going on out there? How does that resonate with what the industry and your potential customers are seeing? How do we come in to help address that? and then how are we differentiating with regards to what the other players in the industry are doing. So if we kind of weave it together, that's the macro level of anything that needs to be put out there. Now, yes, video is going to be important because, you know, again, we are living in a world where the attention span is very limited for your prospects, right? They're fed thousands of things. They are invited to hundreds of
Event,
events.
right?
They are on some digital website, and they're like blasted by digital ads, right? So how do you stand out from that clutter?
Yeah.
So yes, video can be one forum. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying it's the worst, but it can be one forum by which it can give you enhanced retention in the way it is put across to the customer. It can be put across in a very simplified manner on how you put complex information out there. I'll give you an example of what we've done with some of our product launches, where I said, how do you take good, solid subject matter expertise of the presenter? And in a typical world, it would have been a subject matter expert with a bunch of slides and a bunch of product shots.
Right.
And I said, how do you take the core IP of the knowledge, and how would you Hollywoodize it? Or how do you make it a lot more creative in a very storytelling manner? And some of the things that the teams have been doing is really building some real cool, creative video format of exactly the same thing in a storytelling manner.
Right. Right.
And the results that we've seen have been phenomenal. It helps you build trust. There's a little bit of credit. Builds helps you build trust and credibility for organization who are looking at bringing visibility and SEO. This brings in an added component to it. Uh, there is a lot of shareability that happens. It can be customized into different forms and formats. So it helps you tie a lot of these things together, by which we are able to take that across to the customer.
Makes sense to me. And in general, are there any early applications of AI in marketing that you're excited about, right? That your team is trying out, they're excited about. What are you seeing in the?
So there are tons.
Hmm,
So there are components. So the way we look at it, and this is where we as an organization, as well as we as a you know thought leaders and voice of the industry would say, ensure there are the right guardrails in place,
right.
and
Right.
that's where security comes in. Okay, it's very important, and you need to have your infrastructure, and you need to have your business secured with AI. Okay, and that's how you got to look at building things. Now, wearing a marketing hat, there are lots of them, and if I look at there are AI tools to help you give insights about the effectiveness of your marketing campaigns. There are tools that can help you in terms of creating, whether it's good paid media copy, the components that are associated with digital. There are tools by which they can help you drive that. Processes by which you're running your lead program.
Right.
How are you qualifying it? There are again tools by which you're able to make sure that more and more qualification happens by the time your BDR or your sales
Right.
rep is out. Of course, you heard about chatbots that's consistently elevating. You got to be careful on how you do it. You don't want bad examples of how some organizations have faced it in the past. How do you make sure that you're getting the right the AI tools and the right training that's put in to kind of help that? And then of course translation. I
Right.
think this is an area that we're seeing a big pickup, where there is a good accuracy that's happening now with AI led translation tools. So literally the world is our oyster when it comes to AI application and tools, and where we are constantly conscious is, okay, this is good. How does it help us? How is it making us more effective, more efficient, more productive? But and more importantly, how is it continuing to keep us secure? Because, and this is not just for Palo Alto Networks or anybody else, but sorry, it's not just for us, but it's for everybody else, where they have to think about AI with a security lens.
That's a great point, Moni. And taking a slightly different direction, you've sort of grown in Palo Alto Networks to become the CMO over the last many years, right? Uh, what are some leadership lessons you've learned over this year, Ronnie? And obviously, the company you all have built is an incredible company, and it means that you guys are doing something right. And if there are any reflections you've had in terms of what lessons you've had over the last few years from a leadership standpoint, would love to hear it.
You know, so quite a few things, Kishore. One is, I've had the good fortune and the privilege of working with some of the best people in this
Right.
organization, and we have a vision, we have a passion of really being out there, being a cybersecurity partner of choice, and there's a strong mission to really bind everybody together. And the culture that we've built across these last many years, I mean, we're a 17 odd year old organization, is constantly having disruption, very strong collaboration, the way we work with regards to integrity, inclusion, and the cultural values that tie us together has been a strong bond for a lot of us who've been around for quite some time. Okay. The second important thing is we're constantly pushing the bar in terms of doing things better and different. The way we started many, many years back to the way we market a couple of years back to the way we market today to
Right.
the way we're going to be marketing in the future will continue to evolve. And that's so important because I tell myself and I tell the teams, you don't want to be a dinosaur in marketing.
Right.
So how are you constantly changing? So but couple of other key things, what is important is really about one, building a strong foundation of who you are and your teams and the importance of how everybody needs to work together. The other key thing is I'm strong. I have a big opinion about how are you constantly expanding your diverse experience, right? Nothing wrong in being in your own silo, but I would strongly encourage people, depending if you're in marketing or whether you're not in marketing, how have you gone outside your comfort zone, right? And this is a great development. It's a great coaching. It's a great humbler in a way sometimes, or even a leveler, if I may use the word, to really set the context of how people need to develop themselves. You need to work on your leadership skills because these things don't come automatically, and it's really about working them through a strong communication, strong collaboration. How do you work with your peers? How do you work with your managers? How do you work with your employees? It's who you are and what is it that you stand for as that individual. um, Mentorship and sponsorship has been something that I've always tremendously valued. Yeah, I'm still very fortunate. I have some real great, mentors across the industry. They are the people I could pick up the phone, talk to them, and I love to give that back. I mean, I mentor, some early in career folks who are out there, and for them, it's a learning. And actually, the way I see it, for me also, it's a learning, right? Because how they think, there is, trust me, you sometimes after many many years you could become like a horse with binders.
Right.
You
Right.
need to be out there
Right.
talking to people, understanding new things. And there is, every time I meet somebody, it's not about, hey, I'm mentoring or coaching them. It's about me telling them, hey, what are you seeing?
Right.
What are you learning? What would you advise me? Right. And I have had some fantastic meetings where my thought processes have changed because of some of these insights that I've managed to pull in. So I mean, long-winded answer, Kishore, but hopefully this addresses your question of what I have seen and cherished over the last many years in this organization.
Awesome, Muni. Neil, one last boomerang question for you. Obviously, uh, when we look at Nikesh's leadership from the outside, right? He's a kind of person who has never worked in this industry but come in and created a monster business of some sorts, right? What are like two, three things that you've sort of been impressed by working with him closely? What have you learned or impressed with from his leadership style?
It's about constantly elevating and raising the bar. It's about challenging the status quo. It's really about giving a very high quality output. At a
Mm.
macro, I mean, there are a lot of learnings. I mean, I could write a book on learnings from him. But if I were to pick up the top two or three that I see is really about, raising the bar high. Do not accept mediocrity, because then what's the difference between you and somebody else in the market, right? So raise the bar, challenge the status quo. And it started off in who we are as a company. I mean, if we had accepted being a typical firewall vendor, we would have been like everybody else in that given point
Right.
of view. Came into the market and said, no, we're going to be a next generation firewall, and this is how we're different. 5 years back, we said, you know what? Why do we just limit ourselves in a next generation firewall? Why don't we
Right.
expand our
Right.
scope
Right.
into every part of the business? And does that happen overnight? No, but we had the grit, we had the tenacity to really make that happen. And I think all of these things are a true testament to who we are as an organization today.
Awesome, Muni. Thank you so much, Muni. Muni, it's been a pleasure having you. Actually, thanks for your transparency, and I know, it's a public company and you can't reveal much, but you've been transparent in terms of how you guys approach marketing and business. So, really appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much, Kishore, and thanks for the opportunity.
Awesome.